Are you kidding? I, I can't say this on the show. I know you think you're funny and all, but this is like really mean and unfair and punching down at vulnerable people that need, stop being someone's oppressor, Pikachu. You'll get us canceled on Twitter by our betters. People won't show up to the show anymore because they'll think you're just being too mean. Gee, we got a show to worry about, not your precious points of view here that you're trying to jab people with. Come on, we got to open the show somehow. Welcome back once again. It is time for the Comics Coffee Table. That's right, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. We meet up here at our very own Comics Coffee Table, where we pull up a chair, we grab a cuppa, whatever it is we're shoving under our noses today there, pal. Tough guy, sizzle chest, turkey pockets, however you describe yourself and identify in this grand spectrum of humanity, pre-recorded, but live before a studio audience of my stuffed animals. From our Boston studios. Ooh, that's a darn good cuppa. Fresh and delicious. There we go. YouTube took away the bullets in the I could direct you to in the banner of the homepage. Now it's just a couple of links in the description, whatever it is, but you can get your own coffee and enjoy it too. This is Honduras Comsa. It's organic, free trade, and it's darn good and delicious. How are you? We're going to leave the real world's problems over there just for a few minutes in our busy days and take our minds off our minds. We're going to remind ourselves about the power of escapism. Escapism. And its importance. There is a war against escapism. There is. And it's a modern thing that it's storytelling, classic storytelling techniques, and are being subverted by people who are smarter than you and better than you and need to justify their outstanding college debt by, living the message or something like that. That sounds wicked judgmental, but it's like every single one of our pop culture IPs, not ours. There's some corporation owns it. They're not ours. They're someone else's. And yeah, how about that? Yeah, so I don't know. It's getting harder and harder to like the new stuff out there. It's just, but there's plenty of stuff out there to like and enjoy. That's the point, though. I mean, it's easy to get outraged at stuff. I mean, oh gosh, I don't know about you, but I am so tired of apoplectic rants. What is apoplectic and what does it mean to you? Apoplectic. It's an adjective. Overcome with anger, extremely indignant. Mark was apoplectic with rage at the decision. And what does it mean to go apoplectic? Extremely angry, furious. He became apoplectic at the mere mention of the subject. I understand being apoplectic. Yeah, as if you tune into my gratitude videos, I often say that I suffer from the chronic lonelies, the chronic mopies, and the chronic angries all my life. And that venting your rage is, well, it's cathartic. And you are being, it's whoever is the focus has it coming. That's entitlement too. But also it's not healthy. And so I lived a majority of my life in some kind of apoplectic rage. And I hit the wall with it completely. I mean, especially because I understand I'm a professional chef. So if you've seen the whole Gordon Ramsay thing about shouting and about being belittling, that is literally a culture in my trade. And it really deserves to be kept in the 20th century where it belongs. No one needs to be treated that way at work. No one needs to be spoken to that way, and no one needs to hear that either, or be subject to it and be witness to that. It's called that. That's called impact. But what about, you have to worry about the impact you're having on people around you. And here in the 21st century, things are just getting more and more used as leverage against you, or your behaviors, or your attitudes, your ideology, your politics, your point of view, where you're coming from, your side of the fandom. One of these YouTubers that I follow, I have a t-shirt. Watch the shows, send super chats over the past 5 years or so. They kept me company during lockdown. And I know this person is a good soul. But also there's a side to them where it's like, I just don't want to listen to that. I unfollowed them. I muted them on Twitter. I unfollowed them on YouTube. I'm giving away the shirts. And I'm moving forward. And don't worry, this person has plenty of subscribers. I won't be missed. But it's not the point of like trying to punish this person. It's just more of like, I don't want to punish myself by having to listen to this. And it's over this and it's over that. These things we call the culture war. Especially when it comes to identity politics and marginalized alphabet communities. Just there's a point of it that it gets very negative and becomes hopeless. And it's not the way I want to spend my time. I don't want to get wound up in my downtime. I know outrage culture sells. And it brought our communities together too. I mean, there's a lot of these channels that do the outrage thing, and outrage takes, and they've got huge followings. And I've been part of those communities, and I still am to an extent. Yet I take my channel, for example, our channel. We enjoy the slant of a certain slant of positivity and maybe hope, and you didn't say bless you. Thank you, you little bastard. I love my Pikachu. Sorry. Just call him a little bastard to mess with him. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, this is an anti-rant, but this is a rant all the same, isn't it? But I mean, I've been apoplectic. I know the effect that it has on my health and on me and on those around me that can hear me. And the people that you're ranting against, they don't care. And they're not going to be impacted by it. And I'm just done with the outrage content. I'm done with, like, just seeing somebody just get so just wound up. I'm not a toy. I won't be wound up. And I don't know. I gotta get to the comic books. That's what this show is about. Let's get to it. Let's talk about comic books. Weird. Oh, man. Let's see. What? Read the notes? Okay, I told you I'm not reading this joke. This is that you've gone too far this time, Bika. But the coffee table was always where my friends and I would hang out, have good times. There would always be a stack of books on the coffee table. There would always be a stack of movies. There would always be a stack of music. There would always be a stack of video games. There would always be a stack of comic books, too. We have a long box to break down. I think we have 3 pretty full long boxes left. Would probably at least get us through the rest of the year when it comes to rebagging, reboarding, and reboxing my entire collection. Let's get to it. The mission of this show, though, is to not just talk about comic books we love, even talk about comic books that we don't like, and about modern techniques and shortcuts that are just unpleasing. And if we can worry about the future of the craft and the future of the publication industry and like this uncertain future. The future is always uncertain, hasn't it been? And everything's turned out all right so far for the most part, I guess. You know? But yeah, this is the mostly Marvel box. It's pretty full. Behold, the corner is blown out. It's got some stains on it. You can see some stains on that, the Bad Larry. This long box has fulfilled the promise and done its job. So I am migrating my collection from these long boxes to a short box. And because I weighed myself with a full long box, and this weighed 50 pounds. 50 pounds. Yeah, and the older I get, the heavier these things get. So I'm doing something about it now. And every time I will assemble a short box, I'll do a demo on how to make one real quick. This is the lid. Yep. Long box and short boxes have the same folding. Just fold them in. You have slots and you have tabs. These little raised parts of the tabs. You match up the tabs with the slots. See the slots right there? I've yet to get a drawer box. I still have that on my list up here. My friend Yule Carter advises drawer boxes, short boxes. And that interests me. So when I get down into like my essentials, I would like to get a drawer box for, you know, the best of the best that deserve, you know, such treatment. Here you have the pictogram that shows you the 6 steps involved. And remember, some of these are attached because they're cut, but they have a slight attachment. And so I've made mistakes before using like a cutting razor, like a box cutter, to and just maybe you just cut too deep, or you make the oops, yeah, live and learn, you know. Oh, here we go. Make the box boxy, and all you need to do is just push it a little bit, just to use a little bit of strength. It'll pop out naturally. We put your other hand behind it to support it, but there you go. Boom, you heard that. That's the sound. Boom. See? That was easy. Now it's free. So we take this first panel. push it in, fold down the sides, like the handle holes. Pull up the sides, match the handle holes, pull down that first flap. And from what seemed to be a two-dimensional artifact is now a three-dimensional weight-supporting box with a lid for your comics. Yeah, we've done this a few times. Yeah, because we're in the heat of the game now, huh? Yeah. So this is the mostly Marvel book box, and it's got a lot of Marvel. It's mostly Marvel, yes, but it's got a lot more than just Marvel in here. Like, such as this. Sea Guy, Slaves of Mickey I by Grant Morrison and the notorious Cameron Stewart. And we just got a replacement copy of the first volume of Sea Guy. What is Sea Guy? Sea Guy is like one of my favorite Vertigo comics. It's one of my favorite Grant Morrison comics. And I'm going to read this. You guessed it, from the wiki. That's right. Sea Guy is a 3-volume comic book miniseries written by Grant Morrison with art by Cameron Stewart and published by the Vertigo imprint of DC Comics. The first volume of Sea Guy was released in 3 issues beginning on May 19th, 2004. The second volume of The Slaves of Mickey I was released in 3 issues beginning on April 1st, 2009. The third and final volume, Sea Guy Eternal, is yet to be published. The story revolves around Sea Guy, an unpowered superhero in a scuba suit, and his best friend and sidekick, Chubby the Tuna, a talking cigar-smoking tuna. He also flies and has a fear of water, of all things. Morrison has expressed on various occasions that Sea Guy represents a deliberate effort to move away from conventions of the current era of comics. I had the idea to develop Sea Guy into a weapon I could use to fight back against the trendy and unconvincing badass cynicism of current comics, most of which are produced by the most un-badass men you can possibly imagine. Ain't that the truth? Morrison believes that in this fashion, the work represents a new vanguard in the development of comics. Morrison expressed a similar sentiment about Zenith, one of the earliest series they worked on, when they said it was a reaction against torment superheroes. Sea Guy was planned as a trilogy, and the second and third volumes were to be entitled The Slaves of Mickey I and Sea Guy, respectively, but due to lower than expected sales of the comic, it was thought that the sequels were unlikely to be published. In 2006, a fan reported to a Comics Rumor column that Morrison was holding DC Comics 52 Weekly series for ransom. They reportedly offered to help the series as long as they allowed them, to go forward on the Sea Guy sequel. So yeah, I mean, the apoplectic rage I mentioned at the beginning had to do about 2 things. About, one, Tim Drake and his changing his story to suit modern identity politics. 2 was the whole Starfield pronouns thing, and just it's ridiculous, meaning worthy of ridicule. Just the and yeah, I mean, but it's like there's a part to it that that it's like that's why it's attractive. It's like geez, look at this. You know, all this fluff. It's best to stay out of that stuff and just concentrate on what you like. In April 2008, Morrison said that both sequels would go ahead and gave an overview of the ideas. I originally thought about it as 3 books. The first book was his childhood, and if the idea is that you're quite ignorant and you just want to have adventures, and so you have your talking pals and imaginary friends. So that was the child sea guy. This is the teenage sea guy. It's quite dark and gloomy and glossy and weird, but it's quite funny as well. And the final one is a mature adult. So it's a different version again. It's basically just this guy growing up and finding the truth about things. By the time we get into the third book, it's quite a serious superhero story. This is my Watchmen, really. This is where I'm really getting to talk about the ideas of the superhero. It's kind of a conspiracy story. It's something like The Prisoner, which is one of my favorite shows. You know, The Prisoner. This Prisoner, number 6. You are number 6. I am not a number. I am a free man. We'll get to the funnies, yeah. We're starting to see more and more about what actually happens. This series is a transition from the world we're living today into the world of Seaguy, which is taking place maybe 50 to 70 years in the future. So believe it or not, it's actually quite realistic in the end, in the sense that we're going to explore how the world got that way and why that way, and why it got that way, and the real piece of crap that's behind it all. It's a big superhero book. It's the closest, the thing that it's closest to of my previous work is All-Star Superman. And there probably won't be that third part. Yeah. This is all we're getting. We talked about Afterlife with Archie the other day, about probably for me one of the most disappointing experiences being a modern comic fan. 2 issues remaining to that, and they couldn't finish the story. And 3 issues left to this, and they can't finish the story. I mean, maybe someday, maybe. Who knows? But let's get some bags and boards. We're gonna triple bag this one. I have a bag and I have a board with a piece of tape. You go right there. But let's look at some comic books. And we got Dings a Hoo-Ha, Dings a Go-Go. These will not. Oh, look at that corner. This is. Oh, I mugged this, huh? But I've read this several times. I love this comic book. And what do we have? Let's see. Sin City. Now on DVD. Or is that Blu-ray? Yeah, and Blu-ray. Sin City was all right. Oh, that's the Spirit. Sorry. I got confused for a second. They look so much alike. Wow, when was this made? 2009? Yeah, this came out June 2009. This was a $3.99 comic book. Almost 15 years ago. And it picks up where we left off. There's Sea Guy doing his best kind of like Hamlet, you know, just being mopey. Video game ads, huh? Yeah. Oh. I'm thinking that a lot of this has to do with the co-creator, Cameron Stewart, who is a Canadian comic book creator. He first came to prominence when he collaborated as an illustrator with the writer Grant Morrison, and he went on to illustrate Catwoman and co-write Batgirl. He won an Eisner and a Schuster Awards for his self-published mystery webcomic Titulo, and received an Eisner nomination for The Other Side, written by Jason Aaron. In 2020, he was the subject of numerous sexual misconduct accusations. And Stewart began working for DC around 2000, inking the last half of Dead Enders, written by Ed Brubaker and penciled by Warren Pleece. And he started on Brubaker's 2002 Catwoman's run. In 2004, he illustrated Sea Guy, a 3-issue series written by Grant Morrison. And he was also part of the Seven Soldiers, and did a few issues of Batman and Robin, and a really good issue of Multiversity, Thunderworld, the one about Captain Marvel. And he also did Fight Clubs 2 and 3 with Chuck Palahniuk. We've come back to Mickey I and playing Death, a game of chess with Death. Writer, artist cover, Dave Stewart letterer, colorist, Todd Klein letterer. The upgrade. 3 guy. Oh, there's... Chubby comes back for Defug. I love that Defug. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, it's absurd, surreal, very kind of European. Yeah, look, this is a real hoot from Wired. We got more video game ads. This was just over a decade ago. More video game ads. Swearing superheroes. There's P Guy, Tree Guy. We're 3 new heroes who've been inspired by your adventures to start our own team. There's Tree Guy, P Guy. Tree Guy can be as tall as a tree. P Guy can shrink. And then there's 3 Guy. And they're 3 men who become one. Yeah, they can be. So it's kind of maybe a riff on the Legion of the Superheroes as well. Hey, look, more video game ads. How about that? I would have loved to have got the final part of this. Look, more video game ads. Why The Last Man? Does anyone remember the TV show? And why would you? No, because it was poorly. It was just, that's one of the things about the outrage culture from a couple of years ago. That was like look at this. It's being written by activists, and it's not about storytelling. It's about messaging, and it's about, Here's the 3rd issue. Of course, we got dings, spine roll all over this. We got video game ads. Aww. This is what it feels like to be a superhero fan now. Aww. It's creepy. It reminds me of like these old nightmares and cartoons of my childhood. It came from Pink Floyd The Wall or something. The movie. Phase 2 begins. Yeah, so we will never get... Well, we won't say we would never get it. Who knows? Oh no. The Sea Guy Brigade's falling. And in the end, it's death on the gondola. Watching the whole thing go down. But at the end, Sea Guy gets his girl. And that's good. Maybe that is a good place to leave the story. Leave Sea Guy in peace forever. Being on his adventures, not having to grow up. So maybe it's a good thing that there is no end to this story. We're just gonna triple up on this. Take back our piece of tape. We've boarded, we've rebagged, we've reboarded, and here's our box. All right. And that's the point of... Yep, we have another box to fill up with old funnies. Well, thank you so very much for tuning in today. Yeah, huh? I just wonder how much of, Cameron Stewart, in June 2020, Stewart was accused by multiple people of predatory sexual behavior. At the time the events happened, the accusers were much younger fans, friends, or aspiring artists in their teens and early 20s, and Stewart was in his mid to late 30s, and occasionally in a long-term relationship. The accusers said that he used his status as a professional artist to get them to trust him, while all along this was a pretext for his real intent of making sexual advances or grooming. Those making the accusations included a few people. In response to this, DC dropped Stewart from an unannounced project he was working with, and Image Comics canceled Stewart's variant cover for Ice Cream Man, and that's the end of his wiki. That's the end of pretty much probably his comic book career, that he was doing mainstream comics for 20 years. And yeah, he was being creepy. Yeah, well, don't be creepy. Don't be outragey. So much more to live for. Like good cups of coffee. Good conversation. With friends. Talking about comic books. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. It's been the Comics Coffee Table, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. If you haven't already, please smash that like button, turn on those notifications, ring that bell, and subscribe. I would love to be part of your YouTube day. We make daily content here. We talk about gratitude, spirituality, cooking, planets, bunnies. Keep it whimsical, keep it light, and keep it away from the apoplectic. I get pissed off about things too. I'm a human being. You do too, don't you? That's just being human. But, I mean, to go on unhinged rants on the internet, that's not how I want to spend my time. And that's not what I want to be known for. And so, yeah, cool. Thank you so much. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. We will see you again in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.